I went viral on the internet. A short video account with 3 million followers. The profile picture was my husband, Chen Hao. The content was all me. The series was called My Wife is Losing It Again. I was the last person to find out. The day I discovered it, I was riding the subway home after working overtime. Two girls sitting across from me were scrolling their phones when they suddenly burst out laughing. One of them shoved her phone at the other. "Look at this. Jen, it's that crazy wife," she posted again. Today she dumped an entire pot of soup because her husband added 1 extra spoon of salt, and then she smashed a plate. Her husband just stood there looking all innocent. It's hilarious. The other girl watched and laughed too. This woman is seriously unhinged, right? Her husband seems pretty nice, though. How'd he end up married to someone this psycho? Exactly. He's so patient with her every time, and she still doesn't appreciate it. If I had a husband like that, I'd be smiling in my sleep. I didn't pay attention. I was scrolling through my own phone until one of them lowered her voice. "Hey, doesn't that woman look kinda like the lady sitting across from us?" I looked up instinctively. Both girls were staring at me with curious, appraising eyes. I blinked. They exchanged a glance, checked their phone screen again, then shook their heads. "Nah, the crazy wife always has messy hair. This one looks totally normal." True. The crazy wife probably doesn't take the subway either. Her husband has 3 million followers. Jian. They must be loaded. 3 million followers? Crazy wife? A strange unease crept over me. I opened the video platform and searched, "My wife is losing it again." The first result that popped up had Chen Hao's face as the profile picture. My husband, followers, 3120. RG. The bio read, documenting the real daily life of me and my wife. Her temper's not great, but I love her. Followed by a sheepish Jin smile emoji. I tapped into the profile and saw a wall of videos. Every single thumbnail was me. My wife lost it again because I didn't do the dishes. 4.8英里 alien views. My wife threw my work badge because my salary's too low. 6.2英里 alien views. My wife threw my mother's luggage out the door. 10. My wife slapped me because I glanced at the cashier. 8.9英里 alien views. My fingers started trembling. I tapped the one with the most views. Jen, my wife threw my mother's luggage out the door. There, I was on screen, standing in our doorway. My expression did look awful. Jen, because that day I just pulled an all-gen nighter at work. Deep bags under my eyes, hair a mess. I remembered what actually happened that day. My mother, Jinin Jalar, had shown up at our apartment unannounced with a mountain of bags, declaring she was moving in. No prior discussion, not even a phone call. Our place was 500 square feet. 1 bedroom, 1 living room. We didn't even have a guest room. All I said to Chen Hao was, "If Mom wants to stay, that's fine. But can we talk about it first? The apartment's really too small. We need to figure out the logistics." 1 sentence. But in the video, it had been edited beyond recognition. Only my exhausted face was kept, my irritated tone, and the footage of me bending down to move the suitcase. Jen reframed with the title, "Threw Luggage Out the Door," and Chen Hao's voice over narration. My mom came all the way to visit us, and my wife threw her luggage right out the door. I honestly don't know why she has such a bad temper. But it's okay. I'll talk to her about it. After all, she's my wife. His voice. Warm, long, and suffering, endlessly tolerant. The picture, Jin perfect good husband. The comment section was a love fest. Chen Hao is way too patient. I would have divorced a wife like that ages ago. The crazy wife doesn't know what she's got. A husband like this and she still acts out? She deserves to be single. Feel so bad for the mother, Jian In Jian Lor. Came all this way to see her son and got kicked out by the daughter, Jian In Jian Lor. Chen Hao, you deserve a better woman. I stared at the screen, ice spreading through my veins. I sat on that subway and scrolled through every single video Chen Hao had ever posted. First to last. 3 years. 3 full years. He'd been secretly filming me since the first year of our marriage. In 3 years, he'd posted over 400 videos. I was the star of every one. Every single theme was the same. My crazy everyday life. And every Sojian called meltdown. Gen Jane, here's what actually happened. I told him off for leaving his socks on the couch. Jinjin edited into wife goes ballistic over a single sock, flips the table. I came home from working until midnight, too exhausted to talk. Jin edited into wife gives entire family the silent treatment, cold shoulder for days. I lay in bed with cramps during my period. Jen. Then edited into wife plays sick to get out of cooking again. Family goes hungry. I asked him to maybe play fewer video games. Jian edited into control freak wife won't let husband have any hobbies. Every single video was taken out of context, maliciously edited, the truth turned upside down. And in the comments, hundreds of thousands of people laughed at me, cursed me, and pitied Chen Hao. Crazy wife, Jane, that's where the nickname came from. After going through every video, I checked the account's data. The storefront was full of product links, Genjint household items, snacks, daily necessities. Every video had shopping links at the bottom. I scrolled through a few comment sections and saw fans asking, well, Chen Hao, is that pot you recommended any good? Chen Hao's reply, it's great. I bought it secretly so my wife wouldn't find out. Otherwise, she'd lose it again. Haha. A flood of hey-ha's underneath. I felt physically ill. He was making money by making me look awful. I checked his live stream history. Every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. He went live. The theme was always the same. Roasting my wife's daily drama. Consistent viewership of 50 to 80,000. At the top of the donation leaderboard, the biggest tipper had given a cumulative total of 270,000 yuan. The chat was too gent wall. Hang in there, Chen Hao. Your wife is too much. Divorce her already. I did a rough calculation. A 3 million follower account, Jinjint product commissions plus livestream donations plus ad partnerships. Jint conservative estimate, his 3 year income was at least 3 million yuan. 3 million. 3 million. 3 million earned by filming me, mocking me, and putting me up for public abuse. And me? I was a graphic designer making 9,000 a month. Working overtime until 8 or 9 most nights, with weekends eaten up by client revisions. Monthly mortgage payment, 4,500. I paid 3,000. He paid 1,500. It's it. I managed all of it. He claimed his salary wasn't much, Dichinton only 6,000 a month, take Jan home. I believe that for 3 years now I knew. His day job was never that 6,000 Zhenwan position. His real job was filming me. By 9 p.m. I was home. I unlocked the door to a familiar scene. Jinjin Chen Hao on the sofa playing video games, the coffee table buried under snack wrappers and delivery boxes. Everything looked normal, but as my eyes swept the living room, I suddenly noticed things I'd never registered before. The Bluetooth speaker on the TV stand. Jinjin, no, that wasn't a speaker. I walked closer and examined it. On the front panel there was a tiny black dot the size of a pinhole. A camera. My heart seized. I kept my face neutral and casually scanned the room. The decorative picture frame above the dining table. Jianjian, a minuscule reflective dot in the upper left corner. The key hook mounted by the kitchen door. Jianjian, an unnatural bump on the side of its base. The smoke detector above the bedroom doorframe. Jianjian, we had never installed a smoke detector. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4 hidden cameras throughout the house, all aimed at the areas where I spent the most time. Jianjian, kitchen, living room, dining table, bedroom doorway. For 3 years, I've been watched by 3 million people inside my own home, and I never knew. A chill shot from the soles of my feet, straight to the top of my skull. You're home? Chen Hao didn't look up. Yeah. There's leftover rice in the pot. Heat it up yourself. Okay. I walked into the kitchen and found the 2 dishes my mother, Janin Jintlaw, had left. Jin Jint stir, Jint fried greens and egg drop soup. Cold. Nobody had warmed them for me. Looking at those plates, something suddenly made sense. Why? For 3 years, annoying things kept happening at home for no apparent reason. Why Chen Hao always did something infuriating at the exact moments I was most exhausted and vulnerable. Why my mother? Jian Jianlaw always said the most hurtful things at the worst possible times. It wasn't coincidence. They were manufacturing content. The more irritated I was, the more exhausted, the more I fell apart. The more dramatic the video, the higher the engagement. They were team, and I was the unwitting clown, kept in a fishbowl I couldn't see. I carried my bowl to the living room and sat down beside Chen Hao. Out of the corner of my eye, I glimpsed his phone screen. Genji wasn't playing video games. He was checking today's video analytics in the backend. Good numbers on today's post, he muttered to himself, a smile tugging at his lips. I kept my head down and ate, but I was already planning. For the next week, I said nothing and did nothing. But my eyes were wide open. I mapped out the operation. Jianjian. Chen Hao handled filming and editing. His phone had professional video editing software. Every evening after work, his first task wasn't gaming. Jianjian, it was exporting the day's raw footage, editing, adding subtitles and music, writing clicked Jian Worsley titles and scheduling posts. My mother Jinlov's job was to provoke me. She'd deliberately pick fights when I came home most exhausted. Jianjian complaining about my cooking, criticizing my laundry, saying I wasn't gentle enough with her son. Every time she started, Chen Hao would quietly raise his phone. Even our 3-year-old old son, Leo, had been coached. Once, I came home and tried to pick him up. He shoved me away and screamed, "No, Mommy! Mommy is mean!" At the time, I thought it was just a toddler tantrum. I felt awful for days. Now I realized, Dinjian, that moment was surely filmed too, edited into some viral clip about even the kid is scared of her. I also discovered that many of the accidents at home had been orchestrated. Last month, Chen Hao accidentally deleted a design file I'd been working on. I was so angry, I slammed my mouse. Jian, because that file represented 3 all-Jian-nighters, and it was due to the client the next day. Chen Hao apologized profusely, looking genuinely remorseful. But the next day, that clip of me slamming the mouse appeared on his account. Title: My wife lost it again. Jian, this time she's smashing everything in the house. The footage was edited to show only the split second of the mouse slam and my furious face afterward. Zero context. Comments: this woman has violent tendencies. Smashing things today, hitting people tomorrow. Chen Hao, get a divorce already. A wife like this is a ticking bomb. Feel sorry for that kid, stuck with a mother like this. Over 1,000 comments. Not a single person knew the truth. Not a single person knew why I'd broken down. Not a single person knew how late I worked every night or what I came home to. All they saw was what Chen Hao wanted them to see. Jian Jian, an unhinged, hysterical, unreasonable woman. And the director behind it all was lying next to me in bed, counting his money, grinning ear to ear. After a full week of reconnaissance, I made my decision. I didn't confront him immediately, because confrontation would be letting him off too easy. I was going to let him climb to the very top, hype Jinjen, and then pull the rug out. I began executing my plan. Step 1. Evidence collection. On an afternoon when Chen Hao was out, I took a half-Jin day off and went home. I photographed every hidden camera in the house. Jian, location, make, and model. Then I opened Chen Hao's computer. The password was his birthday. It had never occurred to him to guard against me. There was an encrypted folder named Content Library. The password took 3 tries to crack. Dianjian, his account username. Inside, organized by month, were 3 years of raw video files. Each raw clip ran anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. The videos he published were typically 1 to 2 minutes. From 10 plus minutes of raw footage, he cherry-picked the moments that made me look the most unhinged and cut them into a 2 minute short video. Everything else, Jian, me feeding our son, me working past midnight, me making ginger tea for my mother, Ten Injin Law, me crouching on the balcony crying alone. Jian all cut. Because those moments weren't entertaining enough. They didn't generate clicks. I copied every single raw file onto my own portable hard drive. Then I opened Chen Hao's account backend. Revenue breakdown, crystal clear. Product commission. Cumulative 870000. Yuan. Livestream donations. Cumulative 1340.00 yuan. Advertising. Partnerships. Cumulative 9600000 yuan. Cumulative sale 000 yuans. Total 3480,000 yuan. 3,480,000. 3 years. An average of 1,160,000 per year. My annual salary. 108,000. He'd earned 30 Jin 2 years of my income by secretly filming me, humiliating me, and letting the entire internet tear me apart. I screenshotted the revenue page, logged out, and cleared the login history. Step 2. Hire a lawyer. I contacted a lawyer specializing in privacy and defamation cases. Jianzhen attorney Meng. After hearing me out, she was silent for 10 seconds, then said, Mrs. Lin, your husband's conduct potentially constitutes multiple legal violations. First, installing cameras in your home without your consent to film your private life violates your right to privacy. Second, editing and publicly distributing the secretly recorded footage for commercial profit violates your right to your own image. Third, using malicious editing to distort the facts, labeling you as crazy and a shrew, resulting in large gent-scale cyberbullying, constitutes defamation. You have strong grounds for litigation, and the probability of prevailing is extremely high. I nodded. I know, but I don't just want a lawsuit. I want every single person who ever mocked me to see the truth with their own eyes. Attorney Meng looked at me, a flicker of respect in her eyes. What did you have in mind? I'm going to use his footage to tell my story. Step 3. Prepare the counterattack content. Over the next 2 weeks, I used every evening after work, locked inside a small studio apartment I'd rented on the side. Anjanhal knew nothing about it. I watched every single raw file, 3 years of footage, 1 clip at a time. The process was agonizing, because the raw footage contained scenes I'd never known existed. 1 clip was from my birthday, late at night. In the frame, I sat alone at the dining table with a small cake I'd bought myself. Chen Hao was out drinking and wouldn't answer his phone. I waited nearly until midnight, lit the candle myself, blew it out myself, then put my head down on the table and cried. The living room camera recorded all 47 minutes of it. When Chen Hao came home and reviewed the footage, he named the file Wife Crying Alone at Night, Emotional Content, Good for Highlight Clips. His note read, "She blew a snot bubble while crying. Great thumbnail material." There was another clip from the night Leo Leo's fever hit, 39.8 degrees Celsius. I was holding our son, shaking with panic, screaming at Chen Hao. He came over. But first, he propped his phone against the doorframe, angled to capture my frantic scrambling, and only then did he slowly go get the medicine. This clip was later edited into a hit, Dianjin, but he cut the footage of me sponging down our son's body to reduce the fever, cut me calling the emergency line, and kept only the few seconds of me yelling at him. Title: Child has a fever, but wife only cares about screaming at her husband. Dianjin doesn't even check on the kid. Top comment: Crazy wife cares more about picking fights than taking care of her own kid. A mother like this, who needs her? 30,000 likes. Nobody knew that from taking his temperature to sponging him down, giving medicine, and carrying him to the emergency room. I was the only one there the entire time. And the father everyone praised for caring about the child. Dianjin, he was adjusting the camera. After reviewing all the footage, I selected over 50 of the most representative, raw clips. They all had one thing in common. The truth in the raw footage told a completely different story from Chen Hao's edited version. I made side side comparison edits. Left Chen Hao's published 1 Tichu Jin 2 Jin minute edited version. Right. The full 10 Jin plus Jin minute raw footage. Every pair was devastating. Edited version. My wife slapped me because I glanced at the cashier. Raw footage truth. That day I'd found flirtatious chat messages with another woman on his phone. When I confronted him, he denied everything. I slammed the table in frustration. Dianjin not his face. The table and the cashier storyline was entirely fabricated in his voiceover. Edited version. My wife threw my work badge because my salary's too low. Raw footage truth. I discovered he'd stopped paying even his share of the mortgage. Dianjin 3 months running. When I showed him the bank's overdue notice, he tossed his work badge on the table with a smirk and said, "This is all I make. Dianjin, how am I supposed to pay?" Eat through it. Not me. Over 50 pairs. Every single one was a slap in the face. Aimed at Chen Hao Dianjin and at those 3 million followers. The content was ready. Now I just needed the perfect moment. The moment came sooner than I expected. Chen Hao's account crossed 3.5 million followers, and a major MCN agency came calling with a signing offer. Signing bonus: 500,000 yuan. The deal required him to do a live stream at the signing event. The platform would boost the traffic, with projected viewership surpassing 500,000. Chen Hao was so excited he couldn't sleep that night. He discussed it with his mother. "Mom, on the day of the signing stream, I need you to help me out. Go big." His mother asked, "How?" Chen Hao said, "During the live stream, call Wan Jing and tell her you're feeling sick and need her to come take care of you. She'll definitely get annoyed, and I'll catch it on camera. The audience loves watching her snap at you." His mother hesitated. "Isn't that going too far?" Chen Hao laughed. "Mom, it's a 5,100,000 signing bonus. This is life-changing opportunity. Besides, she doesn't know." His mother thought it over and nodded. "All right, I'll do it." This entire conversation was captured by the voice recorder I'd placed under the dining table. The signing live stream was set for Saturday at 8 p.m. The platform gave it a homepage banner. The promotional poster read, "The man behind Crazy Wife. 简简陈豪 signing live stream. 3 years of taming a wild wife. The inside story." Taming a wild wife. They called secretly filming me, exploiting me, and letting the entire internet attack me. Taming. On the day of the signing stream, I went about my routine. Left for work in the morning. Had a box lunch at the office. Met with a client in the afternoon. At 5 p.m., I took a half-gin day and went to the rented studio. I opened my laptop and logged into the new account I'd registered over the past 2 weeks. Account name: The Crazy Wife herself. Followers: 0. I'd contacted platform support in advance, explained my situation, and submitted identity verification along with partial evidence screenshots. After the platform confirmed everything, they gave me a temporary live stream recommendation slot. Jin seat, Jin's teen placed directly after Chen Hao's signing broadcast. At 7:50 Jin 5 p.m., Chen Hao's signing stream started right on schedule. I watched from my phone. On screen, Chen Hao sat in the MCN agency's set, wearing a new shirt, hair slicked with gel, a signing poster hanging behind him. Viewership cleared 300,000 within 5 minutes. Comments flooded in. Chen Hao finally signing. Congrats! 3 years of taming the wife. That wasn't easy, haha. Is the crazy wife making an appearance today? Someone compile the crazy wife's greatest hits. I watched the comments, took a deep breath. At 8:15 p.m., Chen Hao signed the contract live on camera. The MCN head shook his hand and offered a glass of champagne. Chen Hao, say a few words to your fans. Chen Hao held the champagne, beaming. Thank you all for 3 years of support. Honestly, these 3 years haven't been easy. My wife's temper, Jian. Well, you all know. But I've always believed that marriage is about acceptance. No matter how crazy she gets, I can handle it. So standing here today, the person I most want to thank is my wife. Without her, there'd be no me. Comments exploded. Chen Hao is such a good man, I'm crying. What did the crazy wife do in a past life to deserve you? Without her, there'd be no you. Jianjian literally ha. Viewership crossed 600,000. I watched him raise his glass on screen, closed his stream, and opened my own. At 8:20 p.m., my live stream went live. Thanks to the platform's recommendation slot, placed right after Chen Hao's, a lot of people clicked over on a whim. And at first, only a few thousand. They saw the stream title, Jian, the crazy wife herself. Jian, and assumed it was someone riding his coattails. Comments were all mockery. Piggy Jin backing off his fame, have some shame. Fake crazy wife? Huh, she kinda looks like her though. I sat in front of the camera. No makeup. A plain gray hoodie. Hair in a ponytail. Nothing like the wild, jet-haired, hysterical woman from Chen Hao's videos. I began. Hello, everyone. I'm Chen Hao's wife, Lin Wan King, the woman you've been calling crazy wife for 3 years. The comments froze for a second, then erupted wait. Tianjin, is this real? The actual person? That voice does sound like her. Somebody tell everyone, the real crazy wife is here. Deaden, and that viewership started climbing. Tianjin, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. Masses of viewers poured in from Chen Hao's stream. I waited for the count to stabilize around 150,000, then continued. I'm not here to yell at anyone, and I'm not here to cry. I'm just here to show you something. You've been watching me in Chen Hao's videos for 3 years. Today, I'm going to show you the real 3 years. I cast my laptop screen into the live stream and queued up the first comparison. Left, Chen Hao's published version. Right, raw footage, first pair. Left, Jian Jian. My wife threw my mother's luggage out the door. Me looking haggard, sounding irritated, bending over to move the suitcase. Right? Jian Jian, the full raw footage. I just come home from pulling an all-gent-nighter. 5 large suitcases in the hallway. Jian Jian, my mother, Jin In Jen Lar, had shown up without warning. I said one sentence, Mom, could you give us a heads DM before coming? The apartment's really too small. We need to figure this out. Then I crouched down and dragged the suitcase inside. Not out, inside. The live stream went silent for 3 seconds. Then the comments shifted. Wait, the direction she's moving, the suitcase is wrong. She's pulling it, Ian. This is completely different from what Chen Hao said. Raw footage. Where did this come from? I didn't explain. I played the second pair. Left Jinjet, my wife slapped me. Right? Jinjet, the full truth. I slammed the table, not him, because I'd found his flirtatious texts. I played 20 pairs straight through. Every comparison was like a slap across the face. Viewership passed 500,000. The comments transformed from mockery to silence, from silence to shock, from shock to rage. I've been watching LIES for 3 years. Chen Hao is secretly filming his own wife and editing the footage to make money? Is he even human? The kid has a 39.5 degree fever, and he's adjusting the camera angle. Is he sick? Viewership kept climbing. Jian 700,000, 800,000, 1 million. Trending topics detonated. Crazy wife fights back, and Chen Hao secretly filmed his wife. Both shot to the top 3 simultaneously. I didn't stop. After the comparison videos, I held up my phone with a screenshot. This is Chen Hao's account revenue breakdown. 3 Chen year total income, 3,480,000 yuan. Every cent of it earned by secretly filming me, humiliating me, and letting you attack me. The comments went berserk. 3,480,000. He made over 3 million by trashing his own wife? I gave this guy donation money. I want a refund. Then I showed the second piece of evidence. Jin photos of the hidden cameras throughout the house. This is the Bluetooth speaker in our living room. It's not a speaker, it's a pinhole camera. This is the decorative picture frame above the dining table, also a camera. This is the key hook by the kitchen camera. This is the smoke detector above the bedroom door frame. We never installed a smoke detector, it's a camera. For 3 years, he installed at least 4 hidden cameras in our home, secretly filming my private life around the clock. And until 1 month ago, I had no idea. People in the live stream started crying. This is horrifying. Secretly filmed in her own home for 3 years. Imagine Dianxian every moment of her life, filmed and laughed at by millions of strangers. I have goosebumps. This is domestic abuse, psychological abuse. Then, I played the final piece of evidence. The recording of Chen Hao and his mother. Mom, on the day of the signing stream, I need you to help me out. Go big. Call Wan Qing during the Levim. Tell her you're feeling sick and need her to come home. She'll definitely get annoyed and I'll film it. The audience loves watching her snap at you. His mother's voice. Isn't that going too far? Qing Hao. Mom, 500,000 in signing money. Besides, she doesn't know. His mother. All right, I'll do it. After the recording finished, the live stream was silent for a full 5 seconds. Then the comments detonated. The whole family was in on it. The mother-in-law was an actress too? They deliberately provoked her to create content. Are these people even human? So every time she lost it, they made her lose it? Chen Hao, you're not a person. Meanwhile, Chen Hao's signing stream was imploding. Chen Hao. But it is chat with. Creep. Chen Hao, explain yourself. You made 3 million secretly filming your wife. Jianjian, are you even human? MCN needs to void the contract. You signed a predator. Chen Hao stared at the comments in total confusion, no idea what was happening. The MCN executive's face turned to stone. He immediately had someone kill the stream. That night, the internet's fury engulfed Chen Hao. Trending number 1. Crazy wife goes live, exposes husband's 3 years of secret filming. Trending number 2. Chen Hao hid 4 cameras in their home to film his wife. Trending number 3. Crazy wife's raw footage revealed. Jianjian, the truth is suffocating. Chen Hao's account lost 800,000 followers overnight. His comment section flipped from hang in there, Chen Hao, to a wall of fury. You made me sick for 3 years. I thought it was your wife's problem. Turns out you were the real psycho. Secretly filming your wife's private life, editing it into lies, making money off cyberbullying your own spouse. Jinjian, you are 10,000 times more vile than any crazy wife you ever invented. 3 million. Every yuan stained with your wife's blood. Refund everyone who ever donated to this monster. Demand your money back. The people who'd once attacked me in the comments started lining up to apologize. Mrs. Lin, I'm sorry. I followed the mob and said terrible things about you. I'm genuinely ashamed. Crazy wife. Jianjian, no. MS Lin Wanqing. Jianjian, you've been through so much. 3 years of being secretly filmed and cyberbullied. How did you survive? Just thinking about it makes me feel like I can't breathe. The MCN agency issued an emergency statement overnight announcing the termination of their contract with Chen Hao and the return of the signing bonus. Our company failed to adequately verify Chen Hao's content production methods prior to signing. We sincerely apologize for the harm caused to MS Lin Wanqing. Chen Hao tried posting a rebuttal video, claiming, "My wife is retaliating against me." The raw footage was stolen. It's just a marital dispute. Nobody believed him, because those comparison videos were ironclad, frame by frame. He filmed them. He stored them. He edited them. Every single one proved Jianjian irrefutably he'd been lying, performing, and profiting off his wife. 3 days later, I formally filed 2 lawsuits. First, divorce. Second, a civil suit for violation of privacy rights, image rights, and reputation rights, demanding emotional damages and the return of all illegally obtained income. Attorney Meng said, "With the existing evidence, this is practically a guaranteed win." The unauthorized installation of hidden recording devices in your home to film your private life for commercial gain. Fortin Ginsired Simonichin Forting. Didamariak. Deten that alone is more than sufficient. Adding the defamation through malicious editing and the resulting mass cyberbullying, the emotional damage award will be substantial. Moreover, since all of his income derives from the infringing acts, the court is very likely to support your claim for return of all illegally obtained proceeds. When word reached the Chen family, his mother broke down first. Over 3 million, all going to her. What are we going to do? Chen Hao couldn't get a single word out. He finally understood that the empire he'd carefully built over 3 years, Genzian in the followers, the fame, the contract, the income, Genstant was built entirely on a foundation that could collapse at any moment. That foundation was his wife. The woman he'd secretly filmed for 3 years, humiliated for 3 years, exploited for 3 years. Now, the foundation had been pulled out, and everything came crashing down. Before the trial, Chen Hao sent an intermediary to find me. The message: Chen Hao says he was wrong. He wants to apologize in person. He's asking if you'd consider settling out of court. I said, no settlement. See you in court. On the day of the hearing, the gallery was packed. Genjet reporters, social media bloggers, and supporters who'd traveled from across the country. Chen Hao sat at the defendant's table. Compared to the man at the signing leave stream 3 months ago, he was unrecognizable. He'd lost significant weight, sunken eyes, stubble everywhere, a wrinkled jacket. Since the exposure, his employer had fired him too. The reason? Severe damage to company reputation. His accounts had been banned across all platforms, every revenue stream cut off. His mother sat in the gallery, shoulders hunched, unable to look at anyone. The hearing was swift because the evidence was overwhelming. Raw footage, camera photographs, revenue records, audio recordings, hospital records from when I had a F3 from when I had a fever. Every piece of evidence pointed to the same fact. Chen Hao had systematically and secretly filmed, humiliated, and commercially exploited his wife for 3 years and could enormous profit. Chen Hao's lawyer attempted a defense based on family home recordings and creative freedom. Against the mountain of evidence, it was laughable. The judge asked, "Defendant, how do you respond to the charges?" Chen Hao was silent for a long time. Then he spoke, his voice very small, but everyone in the courtroom heard. "Your Honor, I just thought it was fun at the time. I didn't think it would blow up like this." Fun. 3 years of secret filming. 3,480,000 in revenue. 3 million people laughing at, mocking his wife. He said he just thought it was fun. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the gallery. The court's ruling. First, the divorce was granted. Custody of the child awarded to Lin Wanqing, Chen Hao to pay monthly child support. Second, Chen Hao's violations of the plaintiff's privacy rights, image rights, and reputation rights were sustained. Chen Hao was ordered to issue a public apology across all platforms and delete all content featuring the plaintiff. Emotional distress damages, 200,000 yuan. Return of all illegally obtained income, 3,480,000 yuan. Total, 3,680,000 yuan. When the verdict was read, his mother wailed from the gallery. 3,680,000. Where are we supposed to get that kind of money? Chen Hao slumped in the defendant's chair, as if every ounce of strength had been drained from his body. I stood up. From start to finish, I never looked at him once. Walking out of the courthouse, a cluster of reporters waited at the entrance. One asked, "Mrs. Lin, is there anything you'd like to say to Chen Hao?" I thought about it. "No," I said. "The evidence already said everything that needed to be said." After the verdict, Chen Hao faced an inescapable dead end. 3,680,000 in damages, and he couldn't pay. The 3,480,000 earned over 3 years. He and his mother had already burned through most of it. Tianjin a car, new phones, his mother's wellness travel packages, revenue shares paid to his livestream team. Only about 700,000 remained in the account. For the nearly 3 million shortfall, the court gave him a 2 year installment window. But he was now unemployed. No company would touch him. Jan, the label secretly filmed his wife for clout, was more damning than a criminal record. Every video platform had banned his accounts and all associated handles. Every monetization channel sealed. He was reduced to the most basic manual labor: food delivery, warehouse work, courier runs. His mother moved back to her hometown. Before she left, she said one thing: "This is all your fault. You just had to make those videos. I always said it would end badly." Chinhao heard that and gave a bitter laugh. She always said so? She was the one who'd spent 3 years acting as his accomplice. She deliberately provoked me to create content. She was the one on the recording saying, "All right, I'll do it." Now that it had all blown up, she claimed she'd always warned him. Cheng Hao didn't argue, because he knew it wouldn't change anything. As for me, Jianjian, from the day the verdict came down, my life turned a completely new page. After that live stream, the term crazy wife changed meaning. It was no longer a nickname used to mock me. It became a symbol. Jiandint of how women can be invisibly consumed within their own families, maliciously recast, stripped of their own voice. Countless women left comments under my videos, sharing similar experiences. My husband filmed me losing my temper and posted it on social media too, captioning it, "Look how fierce my wife is." Everyone in the comments laughed at me. My mother, Jiang Injin Law, tells everyone I have a bad temper, but she never mentions that I cook 3 meals a day and do laundry for the whole family. I'm also the person who gives the most and gets blamed the most in my own home. Reading those messages, I didn't feel happy. I felt sad, because I knew I wasn't an isolated case. Later, a few brands approached me about partnerships. I turned them all down. I didn't want to turn my experience into another form of content monetization. I just occasionally posted normal snippets of my independent life on that account. Making a simple meal, growing flowers on the balcony, taking Lele to the park, sitting at my desk late at night, working on a design. No clickbait titles, no gimmicks, just a regular woman living a regular life. And those videos generated more genuine connection than any of Chen Hao's crazy wife content ever had. Someone commented, "You have such a beautiful smile. In all of Chen Hao's videos, I never once saw you smile." Now I realize, Tianjian, it's not that you couldn't, it's that he wouldn't let you. When I read that comment, I cried for a long time. 6 months after the divorce, I moved to a new city. Just me and Lele, and an orange tabby cat I'd found near the apartment complex. When Lale first arrived, he was still a little skittish, always watching my face carefully. From ages 3 to 6, he'd grown up in that house. The first phrase he'd been taught wasn't, "I love you, Mommy." Dantain it was, "Mommy is mean." He'd been trained to be a prop. Jianjian pushing me away on camera, yelling, "I don't want Mommy." And every time he performed on cue, Chen Hao would ruffle his hair and give him a candy. It took me a long time to rebuild his trust. I was no longer the exhausted woman who came home from work at midnight only to face hidden cameras. Now I had time to make breakfast, time to walk him to school, time to read him stories before bed. One night, after I finished reading him a story and turned off the light, he reached out in the dark and touched my face. "Mommy!" Mommy isn't. I froze. Then my nose stung, and I pulled him tight against me. He probably doesn't remember what he said in front of those cameras at age 3. But I remember every word, and hearing him say, "Mommy is very gentle now." Jian, that was worth more than winning any court case. Life went on quiet and steady. My design work was going well. A friend connected me with some freelance projects. Word spread, and I built a loyal client base. After saving up, I registered my own studio. I named it Wanqing Design. Small Jian, just me and one fresh graduate as my niece. But every project was my own handiwork. Every drawing carried my name. No longer someone else's content. No longer someone else's punchline. No longer someone else's punchline. My own work. A year later, I was working at the studio when my phone rang. Unknown number, I answered. Silence on the other end for several seconds. Then Chen Hao's voice, so hoarse I almost didn't recognize it. Wanqing. I said nothing. I finished paying this year's installment. May. Another silence. Then, I saw your video today. You took Layla to the aquarium. He was smiling so big. I still said nothing. Chen Hao's voice cracked. 3 years. I filmed you for 3 years. Thousands of clips. I never once captured him smiling at you like that. Now I know. Jian, it's not that he couldn't smile at you. It's that I taught him not to. Muffled sobbing came through the phone. I was silent for a long time. Then I said one thing and hung up. Chen Hao, you filmed me for 3 years, over 400 videos. But you never once actually saw me. After hanging up, I stood and walked to the window. The studio was on the 6th floor. Outside, a full street of plane trees stretched into the distance. Sunlight filtered through the gaps in the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the pavement. Below, the sounds of an elementary school letting out drifted up. They would be getting out soon, too. I tidied the drawings on my desk, shut down the computer, grabbed my jacket, and headed out. Passing the fruit shop downstairs, I bought a pound of Laylee's favorite strawberries. At the school gate, the bell rang just as I arrived. Lay squeezed through the crowd, spotted me, and broke into a grin, jogging over and throwing himself into my arms. Mommy, my teacher said my drawing was really good today. Yeah? Let me see. He dug through his backpack and pulled out a drawing. 2 figures. Dianjian 1, tall, 1 small. Dianjian holding hands. In wobbly handwriting beside them, 4 characters. Me and Mommy. I knelt down and held him tight. 3 years. Someone spent 3 years filming me, losing it. And I only needed 1 year to become exactly who I wanted to be. What those cameras never captured. Jian, that's the real me. My name is Lin Wanqing. I am no longer anyone's content.